What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. Alright, this story's called Blackmail Me into Not Reporting an Incident to the Police After Rejecting You? Prepare to Lose Your Job. When I was 19, I worked in a one-man store in my local area. Sure enough, there were a lot of entitled people that came in, but there was also lovely regulars that I bonded with. Unfortunately, what happened didn't involve one of the nice regulars, but a creepy older man. The man was probably in his 40s, dirty, and just an outright creep. The shop didn't have any panic buttons, so when he came in, I was on my own. He was a pervert who would just come in to harass me. He would lean over the counter to stroke my arms, make disgusting derogatory comments toward me, and try to feel me up anytime I left the counter. I hated working there because of this guy. I reported him to the manager multiple times, but nothing was ever done. I even showed him the CCTV, but again, nothing would happen. One day, the man came in saying to me extremely sexual things and tried to grab my breasts. I just snapped. I shoved him away from me, telling him to get out of the store and that if he didn't stop, I would report him to the police. The guy laughed at me and said there was nothing I could do until I pointed at the cameras. This enraged the guy, and he told me how he knew I lived in the area. So if he finds me, I would end up in the hospital because the things he would do. He left, but I was absolutely terrified. I knew this guy was ex-military and he could easily overpower me. After this, he came in the store displaying what looked like weapons and followed me when I visited local stores. On a shift swap, I nervously came into my work as the manager was cashing his till. He saw me and asked what was wrong, and I told him what was happening. I said how I needed to report this guy to the police, but needed evidence, so I mentioned the CCTV. My manager responded,
"I'm so sorry, but I'm afraid you can't do that. If you do, then they'll do a background check on you and I'll have to tell them everything I know about you."
This terrified me even more. The manager was a friend of mine, and the reason I got that job to begin with. He knew I had home problems, so he was basically telling me that he would tell the police about it and rip my family apart. He added,
"See, I value you as a friend, but after seeing your true colors when you refuse to go out with me, kinda tells me to be honest to the police. Do you really want to involve them?"
It became evident that the reason he never handled my complaints before is because I rejected him. He asked me out a few times, which I rejected but didn't think much of. Sadly, this got to me and I never reported what happened. As scared as I was, I didn't want my family to be destroyed and wasn't going to go out with him just to get the evidence I needed. Instead, I started to plot my revenge against the manager. The area manager and my manager were good friends. He let him off with everything during inspections, but rumor had it that the area manager was moving to a different location, meaning that a new one would come in and do an inspection. Knowing this, I patiently waited to see if this was true. One day, I went in and saw a man I had never seen before. It was the new area manager, and he was in doing an inspection while the manager wasn't there. Turns out, he met the manager before and did not like him one bit, so he was trying to find something to fire him. He told me that he wanted to monitor the things I would do day to day in the shop, and so I did. Badly. I made sure to screw up every chance I got. Not scanning items, not checking everyone's IDs, stocking things wrong, etc. The area manager was horrified and asked me if I was ever trained. I told him the truth. I wasn't, but he brought up my file saying I signed to say I did receive training. Luckily, my dad always encouraged me to keep a log of everything I do at work, so I gave him the week I started and the day I signed it, telling him that he just got me to sign it and he could check the cameras, which of course he did. As a result, he sat me down and asked me what other things my manager did that he wasn't aware of. I told him everything. that he made me and my coworker take over his shifts to leave early, how he never fulfilled requests for holidays and took them away last minute, and more, including how he never processed official complaints and would persuade us not to report incidents. He asked us what kind of incidents, and I told him about the customer and how he blackmailed me not to report it to the police, saying how the only way he was going to help me was if I dated him. The area manager was disgusted and asked if I had all the relevant dates to prove what I was saying. I handed him my logbook and said that I felt awful telling him all this as I didn't want anyone to get into trouble. That was a lie. Of course I wanted results. The area manager reassured me that nothing was going to happen to me as this was all on the manager. I didn't hear much of it until eventually my manager never came into work and a new guy was there. I asked where the manager was and was told he got fired. Turned out he had a hearing that he thought was just about how he managed the store, when it was actually a lot more serious than that. He wasn't just pulled up on what happened with me, but it was revealed that he was falsifying paperwork and falsifying his hours. He was stealing money from the store, so he was subsequently fired for falsifying documents, mistreating staff, abusing his power, and stealing. The latter he was getting taken to court for. The area manager used everything I said against him. I quit a little after this, but have a great relationship with the new manager. He is a kind, professional man. I also moved and never saw the customer again. I checked social media and my old manager had blocked me on everything. I haven't heard from him personally since, but heard that he claims that I am lying and that I was a spiteful bimbo. At least he wasn't entirely wrong. I am a spiteful bimbo. Edit. I was still afraid of the customer throughout this. Had to look over my shoulder everywhere I went. It got to the point I stopped going out myself, only going out with my brothers or a large group. I moved and quit because I couldn't live like that. A CCTV was kept for 7 months at the time on the company system. Not sure if it has changed now, but if you had a date and time, you could find it on the system no problems. Well, first of all, the maturity level on that manager there, that's some real good stuff. It takes a real man to not give a crap about when your employee is being harassed and threatened with further harassment and violence. Wow, like I should just go ahead and neuter myself. I might as well with this hunk of manliness just out there. Being a piece of Alright, this story's called Try to Prank Me? Good luck getting your camper back with a lot of cash. I think this qualifies as ProRevenge because it wasn't petty. This just happened. Well, finalized yesterday. Note: please don't message me asking for videos and Facebook posts and things. I promise my wife that I can tell my stories on here, but not share anything like pics or videos. Plus, we don't want her face plastered all over the net. Anyone who follows me or read any of my posts knows something about my wife's best friend I'll call Karen, a harpy from hell. She makes everyone, even my wife sometimes, miserable. She also thinks she is smarter than everyone and just stuck up enough to believe no one would dare cross her. So a friend of ours, I'll call Bill, bought a piece of property next door to us. He had a bad car accident in November and lives an hour away. He made me a legal agent of the property, which means I have almost as much power as he does. Think property manager. It has a small house on it that is unoccupied, but I keep an eye on things. He bought the property only because next to the house is a big asphalt parking lot. It used to be a lot for a small used car company. His reasoning was that during the bad winter months, he could park equipment and trucks from his other companies there. So he also had me put up huge "no parking, violators will be towed at owner's expense" signs all around it. Moving on. So Sunday, I'm elbow deep into an RC submersible when my wife bursts into my study, yells for me to listen to something. I take the phone and who is doing a live video? Karen. Karen was talking about how she was going away for for a few days. This was Sunday morning because she was stressed out from always giving people advice and helping them through their problems, etc. And then she mentioned, again, why my wife told me. She talked about how she parked her 46-foot, fifth-wheel, $35,000 camper next door to me, and seeing Bill was unreachable this week, I would have to look at it for the next 3 days as a reminder that she is not only smarter, but 10 moves ahead of me, and I'm a jerk because I wouldn't loan her a truck, and it cost her money to rent one. Turns out, she told her husband, who was gone during the week for work, that she had Bill's permission to put it there. So early Sunday morning, he towed it over there. I was pissed. She has a tendency to lie, so I went outside, and there it was, parked right there. In the middle of the lot was her camper. I actually smiled because I had a perfect plan. As being a manager of the property, I also had the right to have any vehicle towed off there, including that one. I had two options. Call Garage A, owned by a nice guy, doesn't charge the state maximum for the tow and storage fees, explain what happened, and he might cut you a break. Then there is Garage B. He doesn't care if he has to tow your car 15 feet. He is charging you the max and always charges you the maximum storage fees. So you're damn right I went with Garage B. Called the guy, gave him my name, told him I managed the property, and bring a fifth wheel, and he had it gone in less than half an hour. This is the best part yet, my friends. I didn't tell her it was towed until yesterday morning. Yes, I waited from Sunday afternoon till Tuesday morning. Yesterday morning, she is on Facebook Live streaming from her car, talking about how he was going to visit her camper for another laugh. Then I got on live. My wife sent her a message to get on my live stream like now and post the link to my page. When she was viewing, I said this: "Hey Karen, hope you had a wonderful time. I have to tell you something. I had your camper towed. With me being the properties manager and Bill being unavailable, I had to have it towed. We can't just let people think they can park on there illegally. XYZ Tow has the camper. I was gonna call you Sunday, but you seemed so stressed out that I thought you deserved the break. I mean, the camper is safe, and that's all that matters, right?" Well, Facebook lit up like a Christmas tree. As I had hoped, those watching her stream followed because, well, they were curious too, and the messages started. A few condemned me, but most were supportive. Some thought it was about time someone showed her that she wasn't all-powerful and no one was scared of her. Then it went quiet. Now, a normal person might be pissed, but understandable. But she went the wounded Karen route. That afternoon, she got back on again. She was crying, fake crying, about how it was going to cost her over $2,000 in fees because her husband wouldn't be back till Friday to tow it back, and could someone please do it for her? A huge bonus I was hoping would happen, and that if she started a GoFundMe page, would people donate to help her pay the fees? The answers to that were between no and heck no. But hey, she didn't threaten to sue me at least, right? A side note, Bill is unavailable this week, except to certain people, which I am part of. I called him and told him the whole story. His answer was exactly,
"Good. You want to play games and be prepared to lose."
The camper is still there. No one volunteered to get it. A few said they would for gas money, but she tried to play it off as it would be helping her, and she owed so much in fees that she would owe them a favor. A favor no one could collect on because she has nothing to bargain with. I mean, she at least has the camper, so think about this. Someone tows it, and she gives them the camper as payment. That's capitalism. That's how you win. Trump who? The art of the deal what? Ha! All you need is daily dose of Reddit. Alright, this story's called "Don't Wanna Pay Me My Last Paycheck? I'll Take a Full Month of Paid Time Off Instead." And this is by user Goku's Hairdresser. Nice. This is actually my wife's story. Okay, so, Chi-Chi's hairdresser? Do they each only take one spouse? That's funny. Okay, sorry. But a few years ago, my wife had just landed a job as a dental assistant. She was picking things up as quickly as could be expected, and she got along with her coworkers great. However, right after starting, she was warned by her coworkers that the office manager was very hire-fire happy. She had a tendency to fire people on a whim and try her luck hiring someone else, only to be dissatisfied with them and fire them as well. We naively thought that since my wife already had some experience as a dental assistant, that she had a head start on any other new hire, that she would be fine. Until just a few weeks in, and without any notice, she was fired for not picking things up quick enough for what was advertised as an entry-level position. Whatever, we live in an at-will state, Utah, and knew there wasn't much we could do, so we started looking for another job for her. However, we noticed after a week or two that her last check was never sent to us like they normally were. We texted the office manager asking if we should pick it up instead, and were told that the check was already printed and sent off and to just wait for it. We waited another week or so before finally emailing her asking her when we would be paid. She replied very curtly that there must have been some issue with the payroll and that she would fix it, then stopped replying. Another few weeks went by with several emails and texts going unanswered by her before we finally asked my father-in-law, who is a lawyer who specialized in employment law and was informed of a very interesting law here in Utah that basically says that if you haven't been paid after being fired, normal pay will resume once a written request for payment has been issued. So basically, my wife was due 8 hours of pay for every day after she sent her initial text. After a scary litigious-sounding letter from my father-in-law informing them of this law, it came out that the check had never been printed or sent, and that there was no accounting issue. The office manager just never planned on paying her for her last period, which was seriously like a day or two. This ended up costing the dental office over a month's worth of wages, almost $2,500. Alright, that's a great story and all, and I'm so happy for the happy ending, and I'm so happy for your almost $2,500. But there is a very pressing issue here that's just been illustrated. So everyone's talking about using reusable straws to save the turtles, and I love turtles, okay? Top 3 favorite animals for me. But what about the camels? I read every day about a camel's back being broken by straws. Do you read about straws breaking turtles' backs? No. In fact, why don't you try to break a turtle's back with the straw? It's not gonna happen. Those suckers are hard. They got some weird thing going on back there. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like a turtle shell, but I don't know exactly what it is. Kind of makes my turtle chiropractor business really hard to run. Not one satisfied patient yet, but I try. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.